Let's face it, we've all been there, setting big goals, vowing to make lasting changes, only to fall off track within weeks or sometimes days. The truth is, we're all obsessed with quick fixes and instant results. But what if I told you that the secret to long-term success isn't found in overnight transformations, but in building small, sustainable habits? Sounds boring, right? Well, trust me, it's not. In fact, this approach is the one that actually works, and I'm about to show you exactly how. In this video, we're going to challenge everything you think you know about success. Forget the typical advice that tells you to hustle harder or push through. This is about creating a foundation that actually lasts. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start seeing real, lasting progress, stay tuned, because we're diving deep into how to build habits that set you up for success, long-term, without burnout. Grab a seat and let's get started. You won't want to miss this. Number 1. The 10-minute rule, mastering micro habits. You know that feeling when you look at your to-do list and just shut down because it's a mile long. You want to build habits, get healthy, maybe read more, or finally start that workout routine. But the thought of it feels so overwhelming. Now you might be thinking, yeah, that sounds nice, but I don't have time for all that. Well, let me tell you about the 10-minute rule, a game changer. Yes, trust me on this. It's about starting small, but with purpose. Let's face it, we've all been there. You set grand goals, work out for 30 minutes, meditate for 20, read a book for an hour, and after a few days, boom, it's all crumbled into a ball of regret. You tried, but it was just too much. You started off strong, but that momentum fizzled out. So, how do we break this cycle? What if I told you that you can start with just 10 minutes a day? This is where the magic of micro-habits comes in. Instead of dedicating an hour to the gym or 30 minutes to meditation, you start with just 10 minutes. That's it. It's ridiculously simple, right? But here's the twist. Those 10 minutes of commitment can set you on a path toward long-term change. Psychologically, the reason this works is because the barrier to entry is so low. The brain doesn't resist it. You tell yourself, I can do this for just 10 minutes. And before you know it, the motivation kicks in and you might end up doing more. Now I know what you're thinking. How can 10 minutes really make a difference? Well, let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was struggling to find time to exercise. I wanted to get in shape, but the idea of spending an hour at the gym just didn't fit into my crazy schedule. Then a friend suggested the 10-minute rule. At first, I thought it was too simple to work, but I decided to give it a shot. Every day, I carved out just 10 minutes to do a quick workout, whether it was a few sets of push-ups, a short walk, or some stretching. A week later, I found myself looking forward to those 10 minutes. And eventually, I started extending the time. It wasn't forced, it wasn't overwhelming. It just became a habit. I didn't need to start big, I just needed to start, period. This approach isn't just about fitness, it's about building momentum. When you tackle one small habit every day, you begin to see how consistent action, no matter how tiny, adds up to real results. The beauty of this is that you're not committing to a lifestyle overhaul. You're committing to yourself, your growth, one small step at a time. No pressure, no guilt, just real progress. So, what's the payoff here? It's not just about the physical change, but how it makes you feel emotionally. You're no longer caught in that spiral of guilt from unmet expectations. You're not looking at an impossible mountain. You're taking one small, consistent step. It's like reclaiming your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. It's about saying, I'm in control of this, and I can do this. And here's the key takeaway. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. So, start with 10 minutes today and watch how those small actions lead to big changes. Your future self will thank you. After all, the path to success isn't a sprint, It's a series of small steps, each one a victory. Reclaim your power, your habits, and your potential. Just 10 minutes. And watch your world change. Number 2, the habit hacking. Break it before you build it. Let's talk about something a little controversial. Breaking your bad habits before you try to build any new ones. I know. You're probably thinking, how can I focus on breaking what's already wrong when I'm trying to build something good? Yes, trust me on this one. If you're struggling to develop new habits, the first step might just be to cut the old ones out. We've all been there. You get inspired to make changes, right? You decide to eat healthier, exercise more, or be more productive. But somewhere along the way, you hit a wall. Maybe it's because of that Netflix binge that took over your evening, or the endless scrolling on your phone during what should have been productive hours. You try, but the old habits keep sneaking back in, sabotaging everything you're trying to build. It's like you're constantly climbing up a hill, but your bad habits are the heavy rocks tied to your ankles. Here's the twist. Before you even think about setting new habits, try removing the ones that are holding you back. Now, you might be wondering, why should I break my old habits first? Isn't it about starting new, healthy ones? Let's break it down. Habits, whether good or bad, don't just exist in isolation. They are patterns, and those patterns are connected. So, if you're trying to build a new habit, but you're also carrying the weight of an old, negative one, like mindlessly eating junk food or procrastinating, you're working against yourself. It's like trying to fill a bucket with water while there's a hole in the bottom. So, break that hole first and watch the water start to fill up. Here's an example from my own life. A while ago, I was determined to get up earlier in the mornings. But there was a catch. I had this bad habit of staying up late, scrolling through my phone and watching YouTube videos until my eyes were burning. I knew that no matter how many times I set an alarm or tried to force myself to wake up at 5 a.m., that habit would always keep me stuck. So instead of obsessing over the getting up early part, I decided to focus on breaking my nighttime phone addiction. I set a simple rule: no phone in my hands after 9 p.m. at all. That was my habit hack. Once I broke that habit, the rest fell into place. Without the late-night distractions, I started waking up earlier, feeling more refreshed and ready to take on the day. The beauty of this approach is that it's not just about eliminating bad habits for the sake of it. It's about reclaiming your time and energy, mentally and physically. By removing the things that drain you or keep you stuck, you create space for healthier habits to take root. This is about taking back control, because it's hard to build a strong foundation when the walls are crumbling. This isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, but it's empowering. It's about saying, I'm not just going to keep piling on the good stuff without dealing with the bad first. And once you've started eliminating those habits, the sense of progress and control you'll feel is incredibly freeing. You'll no longer be fighting against yourself. So here's your takeaway. Break it before you build it. Identify one small negative habit that's holding you back and focus on removing it. No more pressure to jump into new habits right away. Instead, clear the path and let the right habits naturally fall into place. Reclaim your space, your time, and your power, one habit at a time. And remember, real change starts from the inside out. Number 3, sleep detox. Banish the early riser. Myth. Let's get one thing straight. The early bird doesn't always catch the worm. In fact, sometimes the early riser is just a sleep-deprived zombie stumbling through the day. I know. You've heard it a million times. Wake up at 5 a.m., start your day with a bang, and you'll be productive and successful. But here's the thing. What if I told you that waking up early might not be the secret to success after all? Yes, trust me on this one. It might be time for a little sleep detox to break free from the early riser myth. We've all been there. We've heard all the motivational speakers, seen all the Instagram posts about waking up before dawn to crush the day. But what happens when you try it? You lie there, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., unable to fall asleep because you're stressing about how much sleep you're not getting. Or maybe you wake up early, but your brain is still in off mode. You're sluggish, your thoughts are all over the place, and by 3 p.m., you're just trying to survive the afternoon slump. We've all felt that pressure to rise early and grind, but it doesn't always lead to success. In fact, it might be doing the opposite. Here's the twist. It's not about waking up early. It's about prioritizing quality sleep, and that means listening to your body's natural rhythm. The truth is, not everyone is a morning person, and that's perfectly fine. Some of us are naturally wired to thrive later in the day. So, instead of forcing yourself into the early riser mold, why not embrace the idea of a sleep detox? Focus on getting the sleep you need, no matter the time you wake up. It's not about productivity at the crack of dawn. It's about restoring your energy and feeling your best when you wake up. I'll admit, I used to be the person who tried to force myself to wake up at 5 a.m. It seemed like the key to success, right? But after weeks of dragging myself out of bed and feeling miserable all day, I decided to ditch the early riser mentality. I started going to bed at a reasonable hour, allowing myself 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep and waking up whenever I felt ready. No more alarms, no more guilt. At first it felt odd, like I was breaking some unspoken rule about success. But within days, I noticed a huge difference. My energy was up, my focus was sharper, and I was actually getting more done. I wasn't just physically rested. Mentally, I was more present and productive. The magic of this sleep detox isn't just about getting more sleep. It's about getting better sleep. Quality sleep allows your brain and body to recharge, and that's when true productivity happens. The idea isn't to force yourself into someone else's schedule. It's about recognizing your unique rhythm and creating space to honor that. When you let go of the early riser myth, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure and give yourself the opportunity to thrive. So here's your empowerment moment. Forget the hustle at dawn mindset. Your body, your brain, they know what they need. You don't have to follow someone else's blueprint for success. Take control of your sleep habits. Prioritize your rest. Your energy, your focus, and your creativity will thank you. It's not about waking up early. It's about waking up well. Reclaim your sleep, reclaim your energy, and watch how everything else falls into place. Your space, your peace, your dignity, resting in a way that feels right for you. Number 4. The habit death spiral. Embrace your failures. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in what I like to call the habit death spiral? You know the kind, where every time you try to build a good habit, it feels like the universe throws a wrench in the works. You start strong, full of motivation, but after a few days, the momentum fades, and you're right back where you started. Now, you might be thinking, that's it, I'm just not cut out for this. But hear me out. What if your failures in building habits weren't the end, but actually the beginning of real growth? Yes, trust me on this one. We've all been there. You set a goal to drink more water, work out every day, or read more books. For a few days, everything feels like it's clicking into place. But then life happens. You miss a day, and suddenly you're spiraling. The motivation is gone, and that little voice in your head starts whispering, "What's the point? You've already failed." We've all heard it, that self-doubt that follows you around like a shadow when you don't meet your own expectations. But here's the thing. That's exactly where the magic happens. What if I told you that embracing those failures, the missed workouts, the forgotten water bottles, the skipped reading sessions, could actually be the secret to creating long-term habits? I know, it sounds like I'm setting you up for failure. But hear me out. The reason we often fall off track with our habits is because we put too much pressure on ourselves to be perfect. We think one mistake is the end of the world, but it's actually the beginning of a new lesson. Embrace it. Failing isn't the problem. It's how we react to it that keeps us trapped. Let me share a personal story. A while ago, I was determined to work out every day for a month. The first week, I was on fire, felt unstoppable. But then, one evening, I came home from work totally exhausted. I thought, I'll just skip today and make up for it tomorrow. That one day turned into two, and before I knew it, the whole week was gone. I felt terrible about it. But here's where it clicked. I stopped beating myself up. Instead of wallowing in guilt, I asked myself, what can I learn from this? And the answer was clear. I wasn't factoring in my energy levels and the unpredictability of life. The next week, I built a new plan that was more flexible and forgiving. The failure wasn't the end. It was a necessary step to understanding myself better and adjusting my approach. The key here is to stop treating failure as the enemy and start viewing it as feedback. Every time you fall off track, it's a chance to reassess your strategy and build a better foundation. This is how you move from the habit death spiral to actual growth. It's about learning to forgive yourself, adjust, and keep going. The pressure to be perfect is what kills progress. The truth is, habits are messy. They're not about getting everything right every single time. They're about showing up, no matter how many times you fall. Here's the empowering part. You don't need to be perfect to succeed. What you need is the ability to get back up and keep moving forward. It's not about how many times you fail, it's about how many times you try again. Embracing your failures isn't about giving up, it's about reclaiming your space to grow. So, the next time you slip up, don't throw in the towel. Take a deep breath, laugh at the absurdity of it all, and start again. Your progress doesn't have to be linear, it's about the journey, the adjustments, and the strength you build along the way. Remember, your space, your peace, and your dignity aren't defined by your setbacks. They're defined by your willingness to rise every time you fall. So go ahead, embrace the messiness of habit building, and let failure teach you what success truly looks like. Number 5. The stress-free productivity. Ditch your to-do list. What if I told you that your to-do list is actually making you less productive, not more? Sounds counterintuitive, right? But trust me on this one. Ditch the list, and you might just find yourself working smarter, not harder. Now, I know what you're thinking. How am I supposed to stay organized and get things done without it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. We've all been there. You wake up, grab your coffee, and the first thing you do is pull out that giant list of tasks. You start checking things off, feeling great for about an hour. But by lunchtime, you're overwhelmed, constantly switching between tasks and that list. It's still long. You realize you've worked all day but still don't feel like you've accomplished anything. Sound familiar? This is what happens when we put too much pressure on ourselves to tick boxes rather than truly get things done. The trick to escaping this stress spiral is pretty simple. Stop relying on your to-do list as your productivity crutch. Instead, adopt the focus block method. Let me explain. Rather than juggling a dozen tasks, take a step back and focus on just one thing at a time. Choose one task to dedicate a block of time to, say 45 minutes. No distractions, no switching tasks. You'll find that when you fully immerse yourself in one thing, not only do you finish faster, but the quality of your work skyrockets. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but I'm the king of multitasking. I can do it all. And I get it. Multitasking feels productive. But the truth is, it often leads to burnout and mistakes. I learned this the hard way. A while ago, I was working on a huge project, juggling emails, meetings, and editing all at the same time. At first, it felt like I was on fire, checking off tasks left and right, but by the end of the day, I was mentally drained and the quality of my work had dropped. That's when I decided to ditch the to-do list and give focus blocks a try. Instead of frantically running through tasks, I carved out time for each one, dedicating my full attention. It was a game changer. I finished my project faster and with far less stress. The beauty of this method is that it's not just about getting more done, it's about getting the right things done. The pressure of checking off tasks can make you feel productive, but it doesn't guarantee you're moving forward in the most effective way. Focusing on one thing at a time not only reduces stress, but also gives you that deep sense of accomplishment when you finish something. It's like a mental reset. No more scrambling, no more guilt over unfinished tasks. Here's the most empowering part. You can reclaim your peace and your time by making this shift. You don't need to be busy to be productive. You just need to be intentional. Ditching the to-do list means stepping away from that endless race and embracing a more focused, balanced approach. The next time you feel overwhelmed by your list, take a deep breath, throw it away, and commit to just one task. Your productivity will thank you. Your space, your peace, and your dignity aren't defined by how much you check off your list. They're defined by how much you accomplish with focus and intention. So go ahead, ditch the list, and discover a stress-free, more productive way to work. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video gave you some valuable insights and practical tools to help you build lasting habits for long-term success. If you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're hungry for more content like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Also, share this with someone who could use a little boost in building healthier habits. Let's spread the love and support each other on this journey. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your personal experiences or challenges with building habits. Let's create a conversation and build a community around long-term success. Remember, success doesn't come from doing it all at once, but from taking small, consistent steps. Keep building, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video.